Good afternoon, everybody. I hope your holidays were as stress-free as they possibly could be. During my holidays, we've had plans be made, canceled, then remade and canceled again. And then my dad blew out his knee, so he's going to be having surgery soon. Never a dull moment here in this household. It's always something. But getting that time in between and just that small break allowed me to think about some things and appreciate the little moments that I had where everything was okay. Whether it was a second or a few minutes or even half an hour or so, it just felt good to be in the moment and be able to relax and just not worry about anything. Be untouched by worry for a while. And I'm looking forward to more of those days, and hopefully there are more of those days down the line, but until then, here I am, and I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, especially with a bunch of cases coming up. We have a couple coming up that I think deserve a lot of attention, especially with the way they were handled. Having that break in between things also helped me realize why I continue to do what I'm doing concerning shedding light on military justice cases and military crime and offenders, but also just the policies that seem to be lacking. It's no secret I started this podcast because of what happened to Nick, but the more I just did local research on things that happened in my own community here in Washington, I just saw so many things that happened that were not heard about, that should have been heard about just based on the level of brutality that was faced, or the seriousness of the crime, or the fact that those crimes shouldn't have even been allowed to happen. They should have been taken a lot more seriously than they were. Nick's story is why I got started, and the stories of others is kind of why I'm keeping this going, because there are so many. And there continue to be more and more the more I pay attention. The more people I talk to, the more news stories I hear about, the more records I research online. Not even in this state. We're going to head on down to Florence, and not Italy, unfortunately. We are heading to Florence, Oregon, a coastal town that holds a military museum. Its director's name is Geoffrey Cannon. Geoffrey Cannon finds himself in trouble when he is accused of assaulting a 16-year-old museum volunteer. There was conclusive evidence that they had been having a, quote, relationship. Something that I think is kind of impossible to have between a 16-year-old child and a 27-year-old man. That's not a relationship, that's called grooming. Geoffrey Cannon is taken into custody and he is facing these charges, and there is a meeting that is held. It's a board meeting at the museum between the victim's family and museum chair holders, volunteers, people involved in the running of the museum. There are all these people that are there in support of the museum, but also, apparently, Geoffrey Cannon. One of the people in attendance at this meeting is Patrick Ritter, a volunteer that served in a leadership position for the military museum, and also had some things to say about the victim in this case. Sometimes it seems like maintaining honor and notoriety in the community is a lot more important than the rights of a victim who is assaulted while at the museum. Everyone goes into this meeting, and the first thing off the bat is that everybody mentions this meeting is being recorded. Something that Mr. Ritter claims to not have recalled when he gets shamed for the remarks he's about to make. Around the 7-minute mark is when he calls the 16-year-old girl, in this case, a promiscuous little and that's all I'll say.
It means that they have determined that child abuse did occur, period.
Okay. Statutory, yeah.
No. You're hearing criminal law. This is not criminal.
I think your daughter could possibly, you have to think about this, she could be a promiscuous little slut and you don't know it. And I think you better get a real handle on some of that. Okay?
Holy
The other thing is,
That's what I'm saying.
Prior to
Mr. Patrick Ritter, someone who had a lot more to say about the behavior of her daughter than that of a suspected child predator. During this meeting with board members and volunteers, it seems like an awful lot of credibility is being given to the perpetrator, suspected perpetrator of these crimes, than it is the 16-year-old victim. Her credibility is being attacked, her level of promiscuity is being attacked. She's a volunteer, mind you. And there's communications, there's text communications between her and Mr. Cannon. He urges her to keep this behavior and their relationship a secret, which kind of implies that he knows he's doing something wrong. So why don't so many of these other board members and volunteers think so? And the man who started this petition to remove all the board members because none of them clearly have the best interests of the children who come to their museum at heart, definitely check out this petition, check out that YouTube recording. Really interesting just to hear what people say when they think that nobody's listening or that nobody will remember. And that happens a lot more, and I think we need to call it out more because it matters. It matters what you say. 4 of his charges carried a maximum penalty each of 5 years. He was sentenced on a plea deal. No jail time. He avoided any prison time. He avoided any major sentencing. At one point in the recorded board meeting, they ask the mother of the victim, what are you going to do? What's going to happen? You know, what are you going to do? March through the doors? Is there going to be community uproar? And it's like, yeah, that's what it takes now. Pointing out bad behavior for people who not only continue to excuse it and defend it, but the people who enable it. They're not going to care. The assault of a 16-year-old girl being called a challenge and a delay to reopening the museum again. Because as it turns out, after all the work on the petition and getting everything together, public outcry actually worked. One of the board members specifically mentioned how they couldn't wait for all the details to come out because it would paint everything in a different light, and oh, your social media sites are shut down and it's unsure of when you'll open back up again. That's such a bummer. What a bummer. I'm so bummed for you. The past board members, volunteers, and employees associated with that recording in this case were all terminated. And it just goes to show you that protesting things that are wrong, that you don't agree with, that other people clearly don't agree with as well, those are the kind of convictions that actually get results. And the closure of that museum and the fact that it's taken this long to still reopen is evidence of that. When the families of victims have to work harder than actual administration or other people will to hold these kind of people accountable, it says something about a problem that needs desperate fixing. Next week, we'll examine cases where, for military families, home should feel like the safest place on earth to be, but in these instances feels more like a prison they can't escape. And I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for supporting When Justice Goes AWOL. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Share with your friends. We do have a couple of cases coming up that are in much need of more attention, especially concerning what happened to them. Stay safe, stay aware, and stay informed. And I'll talk to you guys then. Take care.